Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Okay, maybe the intro was a bit too dramatic. I didn't actually have to take out the front bumper, and I didn't have to disassemble the engine completely. I love riding bikes and it's always been my passion, but living in the UK doesn't always allow you to ride the bike. We have quite lengthy winters and it usually rains, so a sports car usually does the trick if you like that feeling of freedom and you like a bit of speed. Z4 was so good when they came out in 2003 that the Z4M was used as a safety car in MotoGP. And what BMW started doing, they were offering a Z4M to each rider who would score the most points during qualifying. So Valentino Rossi got one, Casey Stoner got one, Colin Edwards got one, and Nicky Hayden got one. So I was on the market for a sports car. Having had the 350Z previously, I wanted something similar. So I was looking at the Z4s, the Porsche Boxster, and maybe the MX-5, but I didn't have the budget for a Porsche. I didn't have the patience for an MX-5, so I just went with the BMW Z4. When I first got the car in 2022, it was running fine. It only needed a pair of tires. Actually, the rears were the ones that had quite a lot of use. So I replaced all four, Pilot Sport 4, and the car was great. I used it as my main vehicle. I commuted in it. I took it to road trips to France and all around the UK, and it was an absolute pleasure to drive. But after a while, I got offered a different job, which involved a lot more commuting, and funny enough, my wife got offered a job in the same place 1 month after I started my new role. So it was a more sensible thing to commute in our Toyota, which is a diesel vehicle, because it was a lot cheaper. The Z4 does about 31 miles per gallon combined, which isn't bad for this kind of engine and car. But the Toyota does about 500 miles per tank, so about 55 miles per gallon, which is really, really good. So the Z4 didn't get as much use as it did when I got it, so it was more staying on a drive. And in 2023, in March, the engine started knocking. It was on Friday. I wanted to take it to work, and I started up and the engine started knocking. So I didn't know what to do. I usually work on my cars, I fix them on my own, and it sounded very, very expensive. I started looking up on the internet, on forums, YouTube, that sort of things, and you know how it is when you look on YouTube and forums, you usually get the worst of the worst. In my case, luckily enough, it was the coil pack. So at first I replaced the spark plugs for £35, all 6, and then the same day replaced the coil pack, and the car was running great again. 2 months after, I got an airbag light, and I didn't really decide back then if I wanted to keep it or sell it, but I thought if I'm going to sell it, no one's going to buy it with the airbag light on. So I took it to a BMW specialist in Northampton, and they kept it for about 5 weeks. Yeah, 5 weeks. And they said, well, they almost gave up but then one of the mechanics gave it another shot and found out that the main airbag module was faulty. So I thought they're going to replace it, and I told them to replace it with a second-hand unit off eBay, but they couldn't find one, so the only alternative was to buy a brand new one, and that was about £1,200 just a part from BMW Genuine Parts, and they charged me £300 on top for labor. So how much money did this car cost me in the end?
I purchased the car in 2022 for £4,100. In the first year I changed the oil in the filters for £200, got 4 new tyres for £601, changed the airbag module for £1,500, coil pack for £224, spark plugs £35, and then in the second year I changed the rocker cover gasket for £180, oil and filters for £244, front discs and bats for £200, wheel refurb for £50, and that's a grand total of £7,334.58.
But that's not everything.
The insurance for the first year was £210, and for the second year it was £190. The road tax for the first year was £300, and for the second year it was £415. That's a grand total of £8,499.58, minus the sale price, which was £3,200. The final cost of ownership was £5,249.58, or £2,064.79 per year.
It wasn't that bad at all. I think it could have been a lot worse, and yeah, overall it was a great car. I enjoyed it, and I've sold it in a decent state after I've put 15,000 miles on it in 2 years. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and even share, and let me know your thoughts. Are you looking to buy a Z4, or do you have one? How was your experience? Let me know. Peace.